Welcome to Thrones and Scones. It's your weekday morning podcast where we talk about Game of Thrones over breakfast. It's Tony, Hans, and Jeremy in with you here on a Friday, hitting season 4, episode 10, The Children and Horseradish Cheddar. Record time, boys. Record time. Here we are. The end of another season. I don't even think that we talked about it at the beginning of this week, but we are officially in our second half of this little recap thing we've set out to do.
Yeah.
So, congratulations.
How's it
you
feel?
You have made it. Feels wholeheartedly erotic, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's it was amazing. You were just saying too that like we're next. Is it next week? We're already gonna be hitting 50 eps.
Yeah, at some point next week, and it's a little thrown off with the recaps and with the bonus episode and stuff. But I think it'll be a week from today, if my math checks out. That'll be our 50th episode. I have to do a little double check on that, but it's something like that.
Some TV shows never hit 50 eps.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Most podcasts with any sort of sanity don't hit it for like a year and a half.
A year and a half, exactly.
But here we are, 2 months in.
2 months in, almost double-digit listeners, y'all.
Yeah.
And hey, we're happy to, as we said earlier last week, just raking in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, obviously.
And happy to continue to do that. So let's keep it going here. I will give you a brief, not so brief, especially from what we've been dealing with lately, a decent enough written plot here on the wiki. Nice. And so with a few more words than 9 for me to read, I will open it up and say, if you would like somebody else to do it, now would be the chance to make that case.
Hans, do you have one? Because I have an idea, but go ahead.
Get it, Jeremy.
All right, I'm going to go with 80s hairband rocker.
80.
I'm thinking like Axel from Guns N' Roses.
All the ones that want to destroy my my voice here. Okay, sure. Your age is showing, by the way. Let's see.
Would you rather be said 90s pop rock?
I'm super young. I was gonna say some Fortnite character and while you floss or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeet, 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 yeet. Okay. 80s rock, season 4, episode 10. The Children. An unexpected arrival north of the wall changes circumstances. Danny is forced to face some harsh realities. Her 3 dragons are gone. There's definitely pissed off people next door. Bran learns more of his destiny. And Tyrion sees the truth of the situation.
It's a little preacher-ish for me.
Oh, is it? You know what? I think the Baptist Church has yet to really embrace that 80s hairband rock vibe that they're just on the cusp of anyway.
Fighting it.
We'll get there eventually. Well, we can start talking about the episode. I'm pretty sure in like 4 or 5 minutes here, I'm going to get an angry knock on my door, but we'll see. We'll see. Just wait and see. We're ending a hit and miss season, not a terrible one here. Decent, and coming off a couple very exciting episodes. So I'm curious, first thoughts on The Children, which is not a phrase that you hear all that often.
It's hard to come off of episode 8 and 9, right? Because we had such amazing moments and such good episodes. I think as for finales in this show, I think this one's a weaker one, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually wrote down that I felt like this was one of the more finale-y finales in the sense that it's just not necessarily like getting started with a bunch of stuff that's going to happen next season. I mean, it does lead to it, but it seems like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of an end cap to this with the situation at the wall. There's a little bit of an end cap to this with all the stuff down in King's Landing that has been playing out with Tyrion and whatnot. Arya kind of ends her journey throughout Westeros with the Hound. That comes to a nice little close. I felt like there was a bit more closure.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the closure thing is nice in this episode. I guess my thing is just that I kind of miss where a lot of the other finales have really revealed something or set something up that was kind of teasing you to the next season. And for the sake of binging, I kind of liked that because it was like, you had a big moment here or there, where this is like, it kind of wraps everything up, but I'm just going to go to the next episode immediately anyway. So
yeah,
I might as well have that stuff, like have a cool moment, have a surprise factor that's going to jump in and totally throw me off. I was appreciative of the fact that we did not, for once, finally, and I know it's not the first time, but still, we didn't end on Daenerys.
That is true. And since we're here momentarily, I have it could be a very long-winded topic, because I think that the answer is exhaustive. But yes, Dany, we have been talking, we speculated in our last recap episode that, hey, guys, at the end of all these seasons, Dany always kind of ends her game on top. She's got these huge, crazy big moments. Is that sort of foreshadowing for what's happening at the very end of the series? And then we get season 4, episode 10. Dany very much does not end on top. So my question to you, I want you to put your thinking caps on here. Are we unqualified idiots?
I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
I feel like there's a strong argument for that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I hadn't seen it up until now, but things are starting to fall into place, and I'm starting to ponder that maybe we don't have the narrative chops to be dissecting such a massive show as we are, in tandem with our baked good reviews.
And it's crazy. It makes you wonder why the showrunners of Game of Thrones would have deliberately came out and asked us specifically to give our formal reviews.
Right,
through
absolutely.
podcast form, They're
like, we're going to need to drum up some attention for this new season. We don't think people are going to watch, and we'd like your help.
Yeah.
We've tried to do it, but I'm starting to think we're just not qualified.
Yeah.
Every time Ygritte says, nothing, Jon Snow, I feel like she's talking to me. Like it's
directly to you.
Like it's going to my soul now.
Well, that's twofold. It's because as we said, it's speaking to you, the content, but also it's also your initials, and you probably get you and Jon Snow confused.
JS for life.
Ugh. But yes, some big stuff happens. If you guys have no qualms with it, I'd like to start at the beginning.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll.
Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very fine place to start. When you read, you begin with ABC. When you sing, you begin with...
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Guys. Ugh. And I'm the one who has never seen anything. Do, re, mi. It's the Sound of Music, motherfuckers.
I haven't seen it.
It's very similar to Game of Thrones, actually. if you like one, you'd love the other.
It's funny because I've actually been to, I can't think of the name of the family but I've been to their skiing lodge. It's in Vermont.
This Austrian family's skiing lodge is in Vermont?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you.
The Von Trapps?
Yeah, the Von Trapps. Thank you. I'll tell you. Give me a second. Let me pull up the Googles of it.
Like one that was licensed for them, or the Von Trapps moved to Vermont?
No, that's where they taped The Sound of Music.
Oh, okay. So so not theirs, just like the
just
filming
just
set.
where it was it was impressive. Von Trapps.
I see.
But it was.
I'm now feeling dumb, realizing that it's probably not a real family. Not based on a true story.
It is.
Unlike Game
the
of
Von
Thrones.
Trapp family toured the United States because they were the Von Trapp singers. That's who the movie's made out of. And they have their family lodge in Vermont.
Well, shit.
Stowe, Vermont. That's what I was trying to think of the name of it.
And people say nothing good came out of World War II.
Big jump there.
Is anyone else sweating? Yes, I tell you what. Mance Rayder and Jon Snow were sweating. Things were getting tense in that tent. We didn't know what was going to happen. They were either going to draw a dagger or, unzip some pants. Anything could have happened. But then...
A lot of eye contact, yeah.
Lots of eye contact, indeed. Mance is a big fan of that, like, The Rock eyebrow thing. He gets it twitching a little bit on the one side. And then Stannis to the rescue. Or to the cock block, depending.
So this is Beyond the Wall.
Yeah,
and yet
it is.
Stannis has got there. He got this huge army up there, but he didn't go through the wall to get there.
No, they sailed up there.
Oh, see, I was trying to remember that. I was like, holy shit. I was like, yeah, you think that you would have stopped and let everyone know that, okay, so.
But you do feel like somebody would have taken note.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
they're
huge
not on
fucking
the
army.
coast. It's going to take a while to get from the coast. And yeah, it's a lot of people. And Mans makes a nice point. You're not dressed for this weather, because they're not. And they must have been in the north for a
while.
For a moment.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
It's just another case of random, questionable timelines in Game of Thrones.
Indeed. And especially, Beyond the Wall. It's the repeat offender. But we round things up with the wildlings. We put them in chains. Jon has some kind of closure moments with Mance and with Tormund. And things wrap up nicely ahead of them trying to figure out the next problem, which is, okay, well, now we've invited all these people into one little weird camp. Do we slaughter them like lamb? Do we do something else? I guess we'll have to declare a new Lord Commander to figure it out. But not now. Maybe later.
Not now.
Beyond that, I guess we don't have to hit it in order. You guys want to chat your least favorite parts?
So Egret and the burial, I thought that was nice.
Nice.
I still think the show made that story pretty believable for me, in the sense I like. I know you don't like Egret. I enjoyed her character. I thought she showed a lot of essentially torment with her decisions with Jon, and then I thought it was a cool way to do her conclusion. And I like that Jon is just left there like just sulking.
Just for the record, Hans is the one who doesn't like Egret. I'm not trying to get yelled at from everybody out there.
Oh, okay. My bad. But no, I thought it was good. I like that part of the show. I still think that leads to Jon's character being more interesting later.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And just to add on to that as well, I never came around on Egret.
No.
Right up until her death. Bye.
I do. Yeah. I don't think this is helping Jon's case that he's like not a wildling. It's like, hey, Jon, we got a lot to do. Half of our people just died, and oh my gosh, there's just so much cleanup that we need to do. I'm gonna go bury my legal girlfriend. Yeah, but Jon, if you could maybe stay here and not do that, I'm gonna do it. Seems a little maybe not his best decision to do in that moment.
Agreed.
Also, an impressive funeral pyre that had to take a fair amount of time.
Hey, all these dry wood just laying around in the cold. Gotta find that.
I guess.
So that was.
It was a touching moment.
Yeah. So I have some some competing least favorite moments here.
Okay.
Just
Hit me with your
jumping
storm
right,
of negativity.
jumping right into it, because I feel like I've been pretty negative on this episode anyway. I might as well keep it rolling. So you'll have to help me decide what my true least favorite moment is, because I absolutely hate and don't even understand Shay in Tywin's bed. And my other least favorite moment, which I still really don't understand at this point, for how long Arya has been with the Hound. And yes, I understand the Hound killed her friend, and that is hard to get over. But the Hound, other than that, has been, her protector and has been like teaching her how to survive and all this stuff. And really, they've got to have built some sort of friendship at this point, like being together that long, and him really like protecting her, taking care of her. And she still like has no regard for him at all. She still just seems like she just doesn't care. Like when he's dying at the end, and she doesn't really help him to put him out of his misery or any of that. And I just feel like I wanted that the Hound kind of came around for me, and I wanted that relationship to build a little bit more than it did. I don't know.
I was kind of conflicted with that as well, because I actually liked the moment, and I think what they were trying to go for was like she's wanted to kill him, and now she's not. She's kind of sort of taking him off of her list, as it were. But she's also kind of leaving him to die. And she's not even doing it like saying, I forgive you or something, or like, hey, maybe you got a chance this way. She just walks away and steals his money. And it seems oddly cold.
Yeah.
Especially when like the Hound kind of had this moment of like, you know, with Brienne where she's like, are you watching over her? And he's like, yeah, I am. And then she kind of like, you know, she doesn't say anything verbally, but she backs him up there. You know, she kind of comes around the one side and decides that she's going to stay with the Hound. And so I thought that it was a little odd, but I don't think it was my worst. I liked what they were trying to do. I just don't think they did it well.
Yeah. I would have, it didn't, to me, it didn't come off as her like checking him off his list or anything, because he died in a much more painful and worse way than if she would have just like put him out of his misery. Allegedly. And he was like, yeah, allegedly, I guess. But.
Well, see, for me, it's like, you know, he's been teaching her the entire time they've been together of like the way things are, right? People die, you know, strong survive and all those things. Like this just with the farmers and him taking the silver from them. It's like, for me, it was like the sum of all those things.
Right, but you could, so even then, when he was teaching her all this stuff, his like, I would say one of his little moments of redemption is when he puts that farmer out of his misery by stabbing him in the heart and showing him where the heart is. And then that would be one of the things, you know, kind of in your argument that he's been teaching Arya. And then she has the chance to do that same thing for him. And she doesn't do it. So.
I just think it's hard for her to, because she doesn't, I very much interpreted it like Tony said, that he's no longer on her list. So she doesn't want to kill him. Right. You know? And I think it's easier for her to walk away than to do that. You know? So, no, I struggle with that scene. I agree.
As for the Shay and Tywin's bed thing, I won't fight you on that a minute.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
I'd never understand it. She doesn't even look... I mean, she looks shocked for a minute, but then she's blind with fury.
Tries to kill him.
It's very odd. I was also tied. I didn't even realize until right now. I wrote down 2 least favorite moments because that I wrote down while watching it. And then afterwards wrote another thing, which is when Cersei gets very real with Tywin. And I kind of liked this moment, except in retrospect, I realized that this whole thing where she tells him that her and Jaime have been doing the no pants dance since they were youths and continuing on, and his entire legacy is a lie. It is such an obvious marker that he's gonna die. Like, because can you even imagine how that would play out? Like, what would happen with that? He's alienated his one son already with having that deal which went back with Jaime, and then now this whole thing with Cersei, and now it's like going into territory that threatened to take his grandchildren away from, which he's already made moves to. Like, I think the only logical thing next season, had Tywin Lannister survived this episode, was like him to kill his kids, like to start picking kids off and hope that his old balls can plant a seed in Shay. I don't know. Oh, if Mick Jagger can do it, maybe Tywin Lannister can do it. It was such an oddly timed thing. Like it seems so telegraphing. And granted, I'm watching that now knowing what happens. But yeah. Before we get to the end, does anyone have a favorite part that's not the end?
I don't think so. What did you think of the Brienne and Hound fight?
It was an awesome fight for a few minutes. I thought that the brutality of it got pretty crazy, where it showed, like, you know, Brienne has shown a couple moments when she really gets into a fight where she kind of gets a little bit more rabid than you might imagine. And she, like, straight up bites part of this dude's ear off at this point. Yeah. And the Hound is fighting dirty well. It gets brutal. My problem with it is that for whatever reason, about halfway through, they take this like Marvel jump cut approach to filming the fight. And it's like every punch that someone's throwing is 2 separate cuts. into two different, and it's like I can't even, it almost gives me a headache how much we're moving around. And I get it's supposed to be like hectic and frantic and boom, 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 and what's going on, and it's over before we even know it. But I just found it a little poorly shot, I thought.
Yeah, I just really didn't want the Hound to go here. I don't know. I was bummed.
Yeah.
Both times I've watched it, I just really wish his story, because I thought the whole Arya and Hound thing was one of my favorite storylines.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted that to continue.
And now we'll never get to see him again.
No. Maybe the Hound was the faceless man. Conspiracy theory.
Oof.
He comes back.
Syrio Farrell, the first sword of Bravos, and the Hound to the king.
Then pulls it again, and he's like, "In the Cersei." Then pulls again.
Pulls a gun.
It's Talisi.
He is every character. That is the real.
And then pulls one more time,
here.
and it's Catelyn.
So that happens. Let's see. Drogon actually does kill some babies. I had it wrong earlier, but now a baby does die. So Dany entombs her other two dragons, which are, of course, named, Hans.
Oh, Viserion, something like that.
The spelling, I think, was right, but...
Viserion, yeah. Viserion.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's very much similar to other Targaryen names here.
Ooh, yes. Yes, indeed it is.
So what's the one that's flown away? The one that's flown away is what?
Drogon.
Drogon.
Mm-hmm.
Rhaegal, baby.
Baby. Nailed it. Just like they did to those chains that are keeping them in the catacombs.
And the only reason I knew this is because she says it in this episode. I think when she chains it, or no, she says it in the next episode.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, where she's yelling like,
"Yeah, she
Viserion, Rhaegal."
That's the only reason is I'm an episode ahead, and I knew she said it. I had to think about
let's
it.
be honest. Did you guys cry when she chained him? Because that was tearful for me.
That was rough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you could do, because I think she was warranted, right? I mean, when your pets are literally murdering children, it's probably a good idea to at least chain them up.
They're her children.
Yeah. And they're like screaming, like you would be, if you muted it and you didn't see her crying, it would just look like angry, weird CGI lizards. But like, there's something in those noises that are oddly chilling. Like, yeah, it was a well done scene. Also, I did notice Drogon, who is not in this episode, but we saw him earlier this season, is a hell of a lot bigger than those two right now.
Yeah.
Like, so much bigger. I don't even think he would have fit through that door, let alone both of them at the same time. Pretty nuts. Let's see. Running down the quick recaps here. Bran and crew finally arrive at the heart tree they've been searching for, and unfortunately, they are met with some skeletal action, some guards to their path. Right at the end, you would have thought that maybe the chick with the fireballs could have cleared them out before they arrived, but, they needed an excuse to kill Ferb. So here lies Ferb. Rest in peace.
She's kind of a badass, the child throwing all those fire bombs, but just stops throwing them. And I'm like, did you just run out of them? Did you just give up?
I think they did run out of them, yes, because we find out later that it's not like that they're like actual little things that she's throwing.
Right.
And
like
so I'm assuming she did actually run out of them.
Death.
Yeah, acorns o' death.
Except for she still had one to toss over onto Jojen and just fucking splatter him.
Do you think that Mira afterwards was like, could you have maybe said that you were going to do it so I didn't have to slit my brother's throat? But she did. Also, we've had 4 full seasons for them to decide what the Three-Eyed Raven and the Children of the Forest are going to look like. And we get to see both of them in this episode, and the next time we see them, they will both be different.
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Yeah, different actor for the Three-Eyed Raven who looks very, very different. And then the children are like completely redone.
Yeah, the Three-Eyed Raven looks more like a old Chinese grandfather.
Yeah.
Samurai. It's weird. Not samurai. I can't go that way. It's Japanese.
Samurai.
Every time I see him, he looks like I don't know if you guys ever watched. It was not a particularly popular show, but it's called Merlin, and it was on BBC. And it was great, and it's about like Merlin as a kid. But at the end of the show, spoilers, it does show Merlin as a very old adult, but it's the same kid, and they just age him up with prosthetics, makeup, and really long gray hair. And this dude looks exactly like that. Like, it's so fake. I'm like, I don't think that's a real person. I think it's just they took that scene from Merlin, they got the rights and threw it in. Who's to know? But then, yeah, really all the stuff happening in the tail end of the episode, the big points for the plots in King's Landing, with Tyrion getting free and murdery.
Yeah. Is this everyone's best parts then?
Yes.
It is my favorite part.
Okay. Me too.
Again, the Shay stuff is a little weird, but it's acted well by Peter Dinklage. And then beyond that, his confrontation with Tywin is just
good television.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I love how it's not like, it's that whole thing, I think, in this moment where Tyrion's very much bottom of the barrel. You know, we've said he's a broken man at this point. I think a lot of other people would have spent a little bit more time to gloat. And I think that they were really trying to paint him as like, hey, he's not a villain who's going to like spill out his plan here. He's mad and he's made this decision to kill his dad. And then he's going to move on. Like, he's like, all right, this is happening. And okay, done deal. Let's get out. What did you think about Varys unwillingly, in a sense, because of Tyrion's actions, having to leave the capital?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I was actually kind of surprised that Tyrion went on just the murder rampage that he did. Do you think Tyrion was going to kill? I mean, did he go to his father's chamber to kill him the first time, or do you think he was set on the path when he saw Shay?
I think he was going to kill him.
I think he was going to kill him. Yep.
Because, well, actually, you wonder if his father was in that room instead of Shay, just his father. What would Tyrion have done? Like, he probably couldn't have killed him unless he was asleep.
Because he didn't bring a weapon.
Right.
He grabs the crossbow from there. So that's
From
why I
Joffrey.
wasn't. That was my one thing I wasn't sure. Like, what was his what was his intention to go see his dad? Because that was only going to ruin his plan of getting out, right? Because obviously Tywin wasn't going to let him go.
In the book, I know he goes to kill him.
Okay.
So that's the only reason I'm saying he goes to kill him for sure. But, like, yeah, I just couldn't imagine what else happens there.
Yeah, it seems like he would have been a little bit better prepared going in.
You would think. You really, really would think. But, it's such a cool... And it's just being like, giving out that warning, say whore one more time. And, it's slip of the tongue. Something whore. Oh, you shot me. It's dope. And I like how it's like the weird, like, sort of what looks like definitely hits some sort of organ shot that Tywin recovers from. But when it goes into the shoulder... That's the one that kills him.
There's no
the belly shot, he does okay, but
he's okay. Maybe he just expired from that. My favorite thing in the books, I think it's this chapter, is when Tyrion's like walking away from the whole scene. He's got this like sort of monologue going internally that's saying, it's two-tone gratification or something. He finally got to. Enact revenge on his father for everything. And he got to prove to himself and the world, without a doubt, as the smell started to creep in, that Tywin Lannister does not, in fact, shit gold.
It's funny.
Well, it was, so some mixed thoughts. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on with the, of course, close of episode 10? We'll do our little recap mañana, but here pertaining to the last episode.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like this episode is a lot. It kind of covers and tidies up a lot of things. We didn't mention about Arya now is where. Because isn't she also? She's on the ship now, heading to Bravos.
Right. Yes.
Which is another. Which, is becoming kind of that storyline, which is really enjoyable in the next episode as well. But that was in there. I wanted to break up that really quickly. But no, I thought this was good. I still agree with Hans. I think episode 8 and 9, they feel like conclusions to me. They felt so much more, and maybe again because we like the action stuff. Where this feels like a filler episode, like a 7 or a 6. But then I appreciate how well it moves the pace of this show.
Yeah, I just feel like, and the reason I was a little down on this episode is not even necessarily like where this takes the story, but I just feel like maybe because episode 9 was so much of just one place, one battle, that they almost kind of had to like quickly wrap everything else up, because I feel like so many storylines just kind of immediately switched, or like these storylines we've had for a long time, we didn't really get a build to them closing. It's just like all of a sudden Arya's not with the Hound anymore, and that's been seasons at this point, right? So I mean, it just like, and it was more personal preference too, that I just wasn't satisfied with how that ended. It just was kind of quick for me, that it was all of a sudden that's over, and then Arya goes on to this this new storyline that we have, which I don't know how you guys feel. We'll talk about it in the next episodes. I'm actually not a big fan of the storyline that happens, this little chunk that we get into with Arya next.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll give my qualms about that moving forward. But yeah, just kind of everything I feel like was just kind of a quick end, or a quick tidy up, put a bow on it and move on. But
Well, do you know why you might actually be a little bit down on this episode? It is because for the second episode in the row, we see no juggly action.
That is it. I know it.
You're really just starting to, you need that fix, man. Just
I need that fix. I was like, even when
taking me through a t-shirt, show me some nipple.
Even when so Cersei and Jaime get together in this episode, and
It's true.
I put in my notes in all caps, exclamation point, no question mark exclamation point, by the way, no jugglies. Not even like some Jaime butt, nothing.
Yeah. We get that one little like naughty angle of
Yeah.
Cersei, and that's about it. Yeah. So we do always bring our side of the bargain, because maybe the people don't necessarily bring all the action we want. Maybe they don't bring all of the juggly moments that we want. But you know what? We'll always bring the scones. And today, Hans has a scone. I am not thrilled with the sound of it, but maybe after his review, I'll change my mind. It's horseradish cheddar.
Horse.
Yeah, it was horseradish cheddar from my Outpost grocery. They haven't failed me yet, and
I think they have failed you a couple times.
Yeah, I keep thinking they're gonna fail. Like every time I've gone, they've had a scone that I need. It's just they don't always have 2 new scones. Is my only thing.
I see.
They've repeated once or twice. But to give my formal, in-depth review of the scone, it's about what you'd think.
Oh, that's unfortunately not good for me. Oh, well, if you want to try your own horseradish cheddar scone, I guess you'll have to figure that out. But you can see ours up at Thrones and Scones on Instagram. And of course, if you want to hit up thronesandscones.com, there's all the links to every dang thing that you could want pertaining to us, including all of our episodes, like tomorrow's, where we will recap this entire season. And if the past is any indication, probably play a fun game or two. Well, we'll see you then.
And get wildly off topic, I'm sure.
Yes, wildly off topic, probably wildly off kilter with our off color humor. We're
gonna be doing a lot of often.
we're gonna we're gonna get off. We're gonna be off. We're gonna do all the stuff. I don't know, guys. Are you down with GOT?
You know me. So the I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram the other day, I got a little notification of one of the likes that we got on one of our photos, and I was wildly impressed by this person's. I guess I don't know if it's a man or woman that does this Instagram, but I ended up after seeing the Instagram name, I ended up just wandering over to their page, and it's just fantastic, guys. And I'm gonna have to give a little shout out. So there is a Instagram page out there. They they got a little whiff of the Thrones and Scones, so hopefully they'll keep their eye out for our post. But
I think I know what you're talking about.
The Philosopher's Scone is an Instagram page, and it's fantastic.
I didn't go to the page. Is it actually good?
Yeah, stall for a minute. I'll pull it up.
Here, let me find it as well. Yeah, the Philosopher's Scone. Of course, Jeremy, if you want to explain what that is a pun on for people who might not be familiar.
Philosopher's Stone, which would be Harry Potter.
Nailed it.
Which
that's enough stalling.
Which they changed the book of because they thought Americans were too stupid to understand what philosopher was.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yeah. In England, it's called the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah. So then they changed it to the Sorcerer's Stone?
And they changed it to Sorcerer's Stone for U.S. release.
That's funny. Okay, so the Philosopher's Scone, an Austin, Texas-based scone connoisseur, an account dedicated to baking, eating, and simply admiring the undeniably best baked good, scones.
I'm kind
of disappointed that they
my friends.
aren't Harry Potter related.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through them right now to see if there is any.
Because there should be. If there's not, we need to make some connection to it.
No. They're not as nuanced as we are.
No, but they have been doing it a long time. And it looks like back in the day, I'm seeing some Harry Potter stuff. Like there's this Happy Birthday Harry cake. But it's not a scone, it's just a cake.
They have like 1,600 followers.
Oh shit, that's almost as many as we have.
We have 16s.
I like this one that has also liked our post. It's called Clam Crate.
Oh shit.
So I clicked on that. Soft, cozy, stylish clothing.
Oh,
Clam Crate.
Never mind. I was going to say, I think I've been to that website.
Followed.